Hello guys, I hope you're doing good and welcome back to the channel. So if you're new here, my name is Ravi and today's video is about spirituality books, and in this video we are going to talk about some books that I liked reading. And on my experience, when I read these books, I liked it very much because they were talking about their own discovery. So the author of these books talking about their, some of them talking about their own experience in spirituality, their own way of seeing things in the perspective of spirituality, and also they're talking about some of the favorite figures of them who they follow, like their gurus and all of these things. And there are a lot of books that I read in spirituality and some of them were not my cup of tea. So in this video I will share with you guys some of my favorite books in spirituality. So the first book is The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. And when I read this book, it's about all of these things in our society that comes, the people, organization, society, love, sacrifices, relationships, man, woman, sex, like all of these things. And when I read this, it's feel like very connected to me. And when such a good writer read about these things, absolutely, when you read it, you will feel like very connected to it. And for me, it's like, it's talking to my inner self, and that is why it comes in under a spirituality niche. It is a very nice short book, a collection of poetry, a one-page short book, like all of these topics. And I haven't, a lot of times read poetry books, but this is kind of something very connected to it, and I liked it very much. And there are a lot of poetry books that explain the spirituality and all of these things, but this book is kind of very deep level of understanding. And still, when I get a chance, I read some of the pages and it feels very like a deep level of understanding. Requires a very deep level of understanding to understand these things, some kind of high level of understanding which requires to understand how these things unfold in this spirituality niche or in our society, like how we think of these things. And it's a very good book, and if you haven't read it still yet, just go check it out. It's a very wonderful read. If you read it, you will realize this is something like requires again and again read. This type of books requires all of your attentions, so please make sure you read it. And the second book is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And when I read this book, I understand the present moment, and I understand the experience when you are so much involved in your present activity. This is the whole purpose of this book, is to fully be present and be involved in your current activity, like whatever you are doing. Don't worry about your future or don't worry about your past, because your past is gone and your future, which is yet to come. And we are always worried about our future and we are stuck in our past, and this is the whole message of it. And if you forget about all of these things, you will be more likely to be living in your joy, in your happiness, like all of these times. And in this book, it also talks about when we are thinking about our past, all of those thoughts that comes together a lot of the times in our mind that we have done in the past, and all of these things leads to sadness, regret, guilty, a lot of those kind of feelings. And this kind of leads to in an anxiety mode, more of a depression mode, a kind of negativity feelings. All of these things are very bad because we think of more of our past that are already gone. And this is kind of same thing comes with the future. When we think about our future, all of these things, stress, anxiety and sadness comes when we think of our future. And we think in a long term, for 1 year, 5 years, I will be on that position, or I will be making this much amount, or I will be in a very peace environment, and I will be in a relationship, all of those kind of things. And that is why we are always in the anxiety or in the negativity thoughts. And that is the promise of this book, to live in the present moment. And it explains the process of how to detach yourself from your thoughts to yourself, both of you separately. And this is a very best part of this book. And also how to be more present in your current situation, in your current activity. And all of these things are very deeply understanding in this book. And when you read it, you will realize how great this book is. And it is changing a lot of lives all of these years, and it is a very great book. So please go check it out if you haven't read it. So the next book is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And what to say, this book is very beautifully written and a very beautiful story. This is a very strong message of this Paulo Coelho, is don't quit on your dreams, follow your dreams, follow your inner voice, follow yourself, what you are wanted. And a lot of the times we think of those dreams and we feel I can't able to do it, like I won't able to achieve it. And this story of this boy tells you like whatever you're dreamed of, whatever you're thinking, like 10x bigger thing, like the 100x bigger things, you will be more likely to achieve it when you have same level of belief, or like some kind of a believing in yourself, like talking to your inner self, like all of these things. And the stories like this, it gives you motivation and it's boosted your inner self, and you're talking to someone else but in a very positive way. And the story feels like when you finish it, you will be like wow, this story needed to be told. And the more who the people who dream of this kind of dreams, achieving your whatever you wanted, and this story needs to be told. And if you haven't read it, please go check it out, read it, and it will change your life. If you haven't read it, or if you haven't heard about this book, please go check it out and read it. So the next book is The Autobiography of Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda, and it was a very very new experience for me when I read this book and when I finished it, because a lot of these yogis and the stories they were written in the book are very new to me. And before that, I haven't heard about, and I haven't read it, that kind of stories in any other book, in any other spirituality book. And this was a very new to me and very kind of engaging to know more about these kind of things. And Paramahansa Yogananda talked about his whole journey, like from when he was child to growing up to the day when he was leaving his body. And between this, like all of the things happen, and his masters and his disciples, and between all of these stories. And it was written in a very beautiful way, in a very spiritually manner. And yeah, when you are very new into the spirituality, when you read some of these topics, you will be more likely to like this was way too much. You will need some kind of understanding, some deep kind of believing understanding to read this book. And it was all for everyone, like if you're a spiritual person and if you're not a spirituality person, I think this book is for everyone to read. And for me, spirituality is a very personal experience and a very personal a way of seeing things. And for everyone, I think it's a very individual kind of experience, and it upon us like how far we wanted to go into this spirituality, and how far we wanted to explore or kind of experience different things, kind of feeling different thoughts and different kind of level. And it's all depend on us. And with this book also, if you wanted to explore more, and if you wanted to know more about this kind of yogis and how they perform different things. Some of these yogis live without food for years, and some of these they have a power, a different kind of powers, they kind of float into the air, and all of these things. And when you read it, you will realize this is kind of things happens back then. So it is a very good book. I mean, you should read it, like everyone should read it. And if you haven't read it, please go check it out and read it. So the last book is The 4 Agreements, and these 4 agreements looks very easy and very simple to follow, but it's so very difficult to do when you put these 4 agreements into the practice. And this book is very helpful, and it's a short book. You can finish it a day when you are very fully involved into the reading, because when you read it, you'll feel like to finish it. You will forget your time when you are sit with a more conscious way, because these 4 agreements, when you put into the practice, it will help you a lot. Agreements like being impeccable with your words, like your words holds most of the power, and choose very wisely what you wanted to say, and don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, do your best. Like all these 4 agreements were very helpful. I feel like this book is a very spiritual way, because when you turn the pages of this book, you will be more likely to talking to the author of this book very personally way, because he's kind of written this book in a very beautifully connected, like for everyone, for every individual on this planet can connect to this book. And if you haven't read it, please go check it out, like all of this type of books that I mentioned into this video. So yeah, I will put the link of all of these books in the description box below, so you can purchase through my link and I will get a commission of it. And this is a very best way to support this channel. And if you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe it and share this video, like it, and comment down below what are the other type of videos you guys wanted me to make. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.